Hi and welcome back to another tutorial on Apache servers. Now today in our tutorial we'll learn how can we secure our Apache Web Server. In addition to that, I'll show you that how can we connect our Linux based operating system to our domain, which is a domain set it up on Active Directory Server 2019. And now we'll have to look at the security aspects of the web server since it's facing the web, and we'll have to make sure that the operations which are going on that server are secure. Now before we'll do that, we'll have to make certain changes, and I'll log into my server as the administrator over here. And once you're logged in, you'll make sure that you're logged in as a super user. Once you are logged in the super user, we have already configured the network configuration of it. You can type in nm2ui and it would open a sort of a interface with the help of which you can check the settings. Now keep an eye that if you have just configured it, automatically it deactivates itself whenever you'll restart the server. So just make sure that you have activated the network adapter so that you can access the network. And then you can simply quit it. And if you want to make sure that the IP addresses and rest of the things are set it up properly, we'll go to edit, and as you can see that I have defined the static IP address, gateway and rest of the things in it so that you can easily work on the network. Now once that's done, we'll quit it and we'll now try to see that if we would like to make the changes to the IP, what's the easiest way to do that. And in order to do that, I'll pass in a command which is nmcli. We'll have to make some changes on that so that whenever we are restarting the server, our adapter is always active and it is working so that we can perform rest of the operations. Now once that's done, we'll have to understand now that most of the servers, when they are shipped, they are usually coming in with an open SSH access that remote users can even log into the server. Now that's a loophole, or that's a security problem in most of the web servers, since our servers are facing the outside world. So in order to configure the SSH and to make sure that it is secure, that it is not accessible from the internet, we are going to make the following changes. The setting for the SSH HD is usually available in etc ssh sshd underscore configuration. So we are going to open it with a nano command with a sudo and press enter, and here you'll have to look for the authentication part where it is talking about authentication. So we'll have to see, as you can see, permit login or permit root login is enabled at the moment, marked as yes. We are going to change it to no, and then we'll press Ctrl X and then save by pressing Y and enter. So now we have made the necessary changes in order to make sure that it is not accessible from the internet. Now the next step is that we'll have to restart the service just to make sure that it is in effect. So we'll type in a command which is sudo systemctl restart sshd, and then we'll pass the same command, but this time we'll type the status of it in order to check the status of it. So sshd and press enter. So it showed us the status of our sshd on our server. Now next step is that we need to configure our server for HTTP. So in order to install that, we'll have to type in sudo yum install httpd -y, but keep in mind that we are installing it for HTTP at the moment. We are not installing it for PHP applications. We'll do it separately. So you'll type in sudo yum install httpd and then -y, and then it would install the packages. Now as you can see, it has been successfully installed. The next step is that we'll have to start the HTTPD server, which is our Apache server. So in order to start the service, we'll type in a command called sudo systemctl start httpd, and then I'll press enter. So it would start the service, and after that we'll enable the service after is starting it. So we'll type in enable and then press enter. So it has enabled the service as well. Now once that's done, next step would be that we'll have to enable the firewall service and permanently add the service so that it would allow the HTTP and HTTPS traffic. So we have added the HTTP over here, and we'll do the same for HTTPS as well. So we'll write the same command, but this time we'll type it in with HTTPS. After that, we are going to check we are going to reload the service. So we'll type in the same command, then we'll type reload. Once it would reload the service, we'll have to check the status of our server. So we'll type in sudo and then systemctl status and httpd, and you can see the status of our server that it is running well with HTTP and HTTPS. Now once that's done, we'll have to go to our workstation and see that if we can browse any pages on our workstation. Now as you can see, we are logged in to our workstation, and we'll try to access our web server from here. As you know that we named our web server as web01 and the name of the server, and press enter, so it would load the page. Now we'll have to make some changes on our web server so that we can have a default page over here. So in order to do that, we'll have to go to our web server again, which is CentOS, where we have our Apache running. Now next thing is that we'll have to make the modifications. So for that, the default page that we saw is usually the name of the file is welcome.configuration, and it's loading the default page which is there loaded on Apache. So in order to work on that, first thing we'll have to do is that we'll have to remove that file from there. So I'm writing a command rm etc and then httpd and configuration, and then the welcome.configuration, so that would remove it from there. Then we'll go to the var directory, and all HTML or the website pages is usually saved in this directory. So as you can see that the prompt changed to HTML over there. Then we'll type in sudo touch, and we'll create a file index.html over there. Now once that's done, we'll type in sudo nano, and then I'll type in index.html, and we'll be able to type in the code over here. So we'll type in a basic code over here for HTML, where we wrote that welcome and this is my website, etc. Once that's done, press Ctrl X, save the file, and now we'll go to our workstation 1 and see that if the new page is there, which we have just saved as index.html. So we are here on our workstation 1. So we open web1-sayed. If we'll refresh this page, you can see that it has showed the new page that we have recently uploaded on our web server. So now we'll go back to our web server and we'll try to configure the server for PHP. So in order to have PHP installed, you'll type in yum install -y and then PHP, press enter. It would take some time to install and configure PHP on your server. Now, like we did last time, after installing HTTP, we restarted our Apache server. Now, even after installing our PHP on this one, we would restart HTTPD once again so that we can run the applications on it. So we have installed PHP on our Apache server and we have restarted the server. We'll try to access that server in a different way, which would be PowerShell. So we are on our workstation and we'll try to access our web server from here. So in order to do that, I'll type in SSH and then I'll type in the username at web01-sayed. That's the name of the server. It would ask me for a password. Once I'll provide the password, I am connected to it. Now I'll go to the directory for cd var and then www and then I'll type in html. So it would change the directory to html. Then I'll type in sudo touch and I'll create a file index.php over here. And now I would like to open this file in order to add some code to it so that we can test a PHP based application on it. So I'll type in nano and .php. As you can see, I have typed in a code over here, save the file, and then close it as it is, and then just refresh the page by typing in index.php over here. So it should show me an array of 1 to 10. So that's how we can test that if our application, which is a PHP application, is running on our web server. After that, just make sure that you are outside the HTML directory, and then we'll try to type in sudo su and try to enter the password. And now we'll type in the command. So the command would be sudo yum install -v relmd and then /sd or job make home directory and other tools, and press enter, so that it would install all the things which are required in order to join your computer to the domain. Now once that's done, we'll clear the screen, and now we'll try to join the computer, or we'll try to log in. So in order to do that, so to join to the domain, I'm typing in a command relm join user, and then name of the user and the domain name, and finally the domain name, and press enter. It would ask me the password for the administrator on domain, so I'll provide the password, and it would join us to the domain. Now in order to check that if it's really joined to the domain or not, we'll type in relm and then we'll type in list. So it would list it, and you can see the domain name appearing there as say a .local. It means that it has successfully joined itself to the domain. So now we'll go back to our workstation and see that if it is actually joined, and if Elise can log into that and can get rest of the other details on it. So now we'll try to log into Elise account from our workstation. So I'm on my PowerShell, and I typed in a command ssh, and then I provided the username, which is a account which is there on our Active Directory, and then my domain name at web01-sayed, which was the name of my web server. Press enter. It would ask the password for Elise, and press enter. So as you can see, it has successfully authenticated it. It means that it is connected to the domain. Now in order to check that if it is actually able to get the details, so I'll type in ID, and you can see the rest of the details which are associated with Elise account. Further, you'll type in who am I, so it would tell you that it is Elise who's logged into the computer. And if we would like to see the directory, it's showing that it is connected on home Elise, and then the name of the domain, etc. So that's how we can make sure that our computer is actually connected to the domain, and that's how we do it on a Linux-based operating system. Now the last step would be to verify that if it has successfully joined our domain or not. So we can check it by going to the server manager on our domain controller, which is server 2019. So we will go to tools, Active Directory, users and computers, expand your domain, go to computers, and there you go. It has successfully reported to the domain controller. It means that the server has successfully joined the domain, which is a Linux based operating system. So that was our tutorial on configuring PHP and HTML on a Linux based operating system. Then we learned that how can we join a Linux based system to a Windows domain. That's it for today. Thank you very much.